This is Adam King from Aliens Don't Ring Doorbells, and you're listening to Madness to Creation.
Go ahead, say it.
Lady, there's a darkness hiding behind your eyes. Lately, we just can't seem to get it right.
Welcome to the Madness to Creation podcast, where self-care and music merge. This is Maddie. How are you? And on this episode, we have Brandon from Philly, Black Gaze band. You call them Black Gaze, you call them shoegaze, you can call them black metal, hardcore, anything referencing to metal. They're called the Drowned God. They're out of Philadelphia, and granted, they have band members that live elsewhere, but their primary location is Philadelphia. And last month, the Drowned God released an album entitled Pale Home, which is a 10-track opus that finds his character swallowed up by paranoia in a purgatory afterlife. The band dives deep into a lyrical well of emotion while hovering somewhere between black metal and hardcore. We talked about how they got on Solid State Records, and we talked about just how they went about making their music through the COVID-19 pandemic, and this interview is basically just about the record in general and everything like that. And it's kind of a shorter interview, but we learn a lot about depression. We learn a lot about loss and love and so on and so forth. And we also talked about their single entitled I Met You, and which you can check out on YouTube. You can check it out on Spotify. You can check it out on any of your favorite digital streaming platform. And if you're a fan of bands like Converge, Death Heaven, and Oathbreaker, I would definitely give the Drowned God a listen. You will be glad that you did, because it is just a wall of sound. I'll be honest with you, it's not usually the type of music that I personally listen to, but I could definitely appreciate and get down with a band like the Drowned God. And you can find them on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and also you can listen to them Madness Creation Podcast on Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Basically, we're going to scale back a little bit to where it's only going to be available on a few options moving forward. And basically, we're going to focus it on our main platforms, which is YouTube, Spotify, our iHeartRadio, and Spreaker. And also, we'll also feature it on SoundCloud. And just remember, just take care of your mental health. It is tumultuous times that we live in. And just make sure that you take care of yourself, listen to one another, be compassionate. Just be a good person. That's all I'm asking. That's all Madness Creation is asking for. And also find us at madnesscreation.com, and on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at Madness Creation, and on Twitter at MTC Madness. And I want to thank you guys so much for listening. And please rate the podcast. Whether it's 1 star or 5 star, I would love it if you rate a 5-star rating, but I also want to say that. We're also going to, and just to let you know, we're also going to have music reviews on here. We're also going to have little clips that we're going to put on exclusive for Spotify and for TikTok, where you can listen to little clips of interviews that we've done and everything like that. And coming up, the next podcast coming up will be with Record Heat. And on that note, here's our interview with Brandon of the Drowned God. Take it away, Brandon. Mm-hmm. Welcome to the Madness to Creation podcast, where self-care and music merge. This is Maddie. How are you? I have with me Brandon Baun from the Drowned God. And his publicist, Tim, introduced me to the Drowned God, and I got to say, it is absolutely amazing band. And Brandon, why don't you just tell me what you do in the band and just a little bit about the Drowned God, how it came to be and stuff like that.
Hey, yeah, I'm Brandon. I play guitar and bass in the Drowned God. We formed in 2014. We started as a two-piece. It was myself and our vocalist, Cody. And we released a series of EPs. And then slowly over the years, we started to add more members into the band and released our first full album called Moonbearer. I think that was 2016 or 2017. And then we released another album called I'll Always Be the Same. And now we are in the process of releasing Pale Home on March 26th with a brand new lineup.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've been listening to some of Pale Home, and I gotta say that I draw the comparison to, you might laugh at the comparison, but you might not. Like if Norma Jean was on a black metal fit while they dropped a hit of acid.
I love it.
Yeah, and basically, to me, I feel like there's a little bit of math elements in there. I feel like there's a little bit of black metal elements, a little bit of shoegaze elements in there too. So, like, what mindset do you all get in when you create that type of music? I mean, is it like certain, like, is it like the news of the day, or is it like movies, books? How do you create the songs that you do?
Yeah, I'd say a little of everything. So it's funny that you mentioned Norma Jean and black metal and shoegaze, because I grew up listening to Norma Jean. They were one of my favorite bands growing up. Black metal is one of my favorite genres of music, and so is shoegaze. So I feel like I think that like early 2000s like post-hardcore kind of sound or metalcore definitely is a huge influence. It was a formative style of music. That was like one of the first heavy kinds of music that I really got into, and I think that kind of seeps into everything we do at this point. In terms of how we write, it usually revolves around me writing the guitar and bass, and I come to the band and every member adds their own kind of flair onto the material. And where I get my inspiration from, I have kind of an idea of like an arc within each album. So our first album was called Moonbearer. It was more heavy, kind of post-hardcore. Our second album was called Always Be the Same. That was more like beautiful, ethereal, definitely more of the shoegaze and dreamy sound. And I really wanted to follow up I'll Always Be the Same with something really dark and gritty, more black metal influenced, something that like felt like a direct reaction to the melancholy, like wistful beauty of Always Be the Same. So on that level, I think we really wanted to add something that was gritty as a follow-up. So just more on a meta level, we wanted to follow up Always Be the Same with something heavier. In terms of inspiration for the tone of the album, I think this record was definitely a direct reaction to everything that was happening in 2020. We recorded the album in the midst of the pandemic during lockdowns. The studio we recorded at is called Machines with Magnets in Rhode Island. And we had to reschedule our studio dates a couple of times because the state was locked down. And so we ended up recording this album in the midst of all of the social unrest, and there was protests and helicopters and lockdowns even within the state outside of the pandemic. So I feel like that the tone of all of that really seeped into how we constructed the songs and how we performed the songs and what we decided, the choices we made in the studio. I know lyrically we were really inspired by Cormac McCarthy's book, The Road. Really inspired by the bleakness and gray ash and the kind of moral ambiguity of society. I think all of those things really melded together to make what Pale Home is.
Absolutely. And you brought up the pandemic a little bit ago. What did you learn about yourself the most during lockdown?
I think resilience. I think that we can persevere no matter what. I think it shows how resilient we are in the midst of this potentially catastrophic global scenario. You see people like changing and helping each other and finding new ways to be fulfilled and to create. And I know for the band, there were definitely some changes we had to make to the writing process. So most of us live around the Philadelphia area, but our drummer does live in Brooklyn, and he drives from Brooklyn to Philadelphia every practice.
How many hours is that?
I think at least a couple.
Okay.
Couple hours.
Wow. That's dedication right there.
Mm-hmm. But that's what I love about the band is, like we're all best friends, like to me, this band is the most sustainable thing because we all derive this like creative fulfillment out of it. And we're all such good friends to the point we have this connection that's so deep, you know. Even if there's like a member leaving or a member joining here or there, like it all comes from a place of like mutual like love of music and like love of each other, you know.
So, like with the previous people that were in the band, do you still keep in contact with them and everything like that? Still good friends with them?
No, actually,
Okay.
that's the ironic thing. Yeah, the situation around our other members leaving were like those personal things and like probably mental health things as well. But yeah.
Yeah. Would you say like your songwriting and creating the music, would you say that's kind of cathartic for you?
Absolutely. At least personally, I'm a pretty introverted person, and I definitely get fulfillment out of solitary creative expression. So I end up like spending a lot of time just working on music on my own. Even outside of the Drowned God, I end up writing lots of other kinds of music, you know, like electronic and more classical oriented material. And so to me, being able to be creative on my own is something that's super fulfilling, and then I can bring it to the band and have this whole new dynamic to how fulfilling it can be.
Yeah, definitely. And let's get into your most recent music video release called Gnashing of Teeth. And I've heard, and not to like push the Bible on you, but that's actually like a biblical reference and stuff. Like, it was it taken from that, or what's your interpretation of the song?
Yeah, so it's interesting because I wasn't explicitly aware that it was a biblical reference until someone said it in the comments. The way we get a lot of our titles for songs and also lyrics, I have this notebook in my phone, and every time I have an idea or I hear something in passing, I write it down in this notebook on my phone. And over time, I start to lose the context to what these original thoughts are about. And that's like the bridge. That's like the bridge to like what unlocks the meaning of like these ideas. And to me, I like the idea of having this list of thoughts and ideas and phrases without knowing the context, knowing that there is a context, but it's lost. So we end up getting a lot of song titles from my notes, and I couldn't tell you what half of them mean, if not more than that. There are things that I thought of in the moment and then wrote them down and forgot.
That's awesome. And what's your favorite thing about making music videos?
I think my favorite, I guess that's a two-pronged question for me, because on some level, like, we have creative control over the music videos we make that we don't specifically direct. So the music video for Gnashing of Teeth, we didn't direct that one. We actually got a filmmaker who goes by the pseudonym Chariot of Black Moth. And we came to him with the idea of this kind of primordial, gritty, like metamorphosis, you know, something that's eternal and primordial and like gritty is really what we wanted. And on the other hand, we film our own videos too. So all of our videos on our previous record are all videos that we made ourselves. And to me, it's like, it's fulfilling in a different way because I get to be someone in the music video. But I really enjoyed the idea of coming to a filmmaker with some vague ideas and seeing what they come up with. And to me, I feel like Chariot of Black Moth definitely nailed the tone of the video. I think it captures it. I think it almost reminds me of a film called Begotten, which is one of my favorite films.
What'd you like about that film?
I like the ambiguity of it. I like the atmosphere. I like the cinematography. It's filmed on this gritty, grainy black and white film. And I love the idea of it opening with this extremely shocking imagery. And then you're kind of left with this imagery with no explanation. And some of the only sounds in the entire film are crickets. And it really just makes me feel like there's something more there that makes me want to just keep immersing myself in the film.
Yeah, I was gonna say I kind of like films like that, and that's part of the reason why I like films like the Blair Witch Project and stuff, just because you don't know what's gonna happen next. Like I feel like a lot of movies today are kind of overproduced and doesn't leave anything to the imagination.
Blair Witch Project was one of the scariest films I've ever seen in my entire life. I love horror movies, and that one gets me more than any. Like I think the grittiness and the graininess and the believability of it were some of the things that really shook me when I was younger when I watched it, and also the idea that you never even see the witch.
Yeah, that exactly. That's kind of spoiler alert. You don't really see the witch, so just in case if somebody plans on
Mm-hmm.
watching the Blair Witch Project, they haven't seen it yet. I was gonna say, like, do you want to like? Have you ever thought about like making an album or a song in the future based upon like horror movies and stuff? Or
I would love to. I love the idea of taking silent films and creating soundtracks on top of the silent films.
oh, that's a really good idea.
There's a film called Haxan from like the 20s. It was one of the earliest films. Beautiful film, and one that I've always wanted to like just try. I would probably fail. Just try and make some kind of soundtrack for it. I'm sure people have done it before, I'm sure, but I would love to have the experience of doing that.
Yeah, and March 26th, the Drowned God is releasing Pale Home. And what can fans expect from it? And are you guys planning on like a tour or live stream or anything like that? I know we're kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel with the COVID pandemic, but what's that looking like for you guys?
Yeah, I think when people listen to Pale Home, who are familiar with our previous material, I think they're going to experience something that's maybe darker, maybe a little bit more aggressive and gritty, but also ethereal and beautiful. Something that we really wanted to capture was light and darkness. You know, through the grittiness, there is this shimmering light that comes through. You know, and to me, I think everything that people enjoyed in our previous material, I think they'll find in Pale Home, plus this new dimension. You know, I think it's by far our best material we've ever written. And in terms of our future plans for touring, I would absolutely love to tour in the future. I have no idea when that's going to happen. But to me, the idea of touring on this record is super exciting. And as soon as it's safe to do so, I think we're going to be planning a tour.
Yeah, so in the meantime, are you guys going to be doing live streams or anything?
For sure. We have a couple things in the works at the moment that we will be announcing very soon. We will definitely be doing some live streams.
Awesome. And a question that I usually ask for people on the Madness Creation podcast is what is the soundtrack to your life? Whether it's like a band, an artist, an album, or a genre of music.
I forget where I heard this phrase, but someone talked about living with music, and I think about the music that I listen to most and how it kind of defines my experiences, you know, especially during this pandemic. There is an artist called Bing and Ruth. It's a classical ensemble, sort of kind of ambient, sort of minimalist. I'd say that is the soundtrack to my life at the moment, something I've been listening to nonstop, and his album called No Home of the Mind. That is one of my favorite records ever. It came out a couple years ago. It expresses everything I would be feeling in any moment and has really like shaped a lot of the experiences that I've been having during this pandemic.
Oh, definitely. And what's the first thing you want to do when this is all over?
Go to a concert.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go back to concerts.
Yeah. How amazing are concerts going to be when we get back?
I've actually been thinking a lot about this. I wonder, like, to what degree concerts are going to come back, to what degree, like, audiences will be eager to see concerts. I know a lot of venues are shutting down, and I wonder, is there going to be this renaissance of live music where all these new venues will open and people will just be craving live shows and every show will be packed? Like, I wonder, or is it going to be more of like a slow drip of concerts slowly coming back and people kind of being iffy on going to shows? I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, kind of a general poll I've taken with my friends. A lot of people are kind of iffy about going to the shows, and there's a couple people here and there that are ready to get back into this, and those are the people that either thought COVID was a hoax or like, is that a real thing, you know? Tell that to the 530,000 people that died from it, but
I think once the vaccine rollout happens full-fledged, maybe people will be more open to going to concerts. I just don't know what the future holds. I have no idea.
yeah, definitely. And what else would you like to add in regards to the Drowned God, like where people can find you or anything like that?
We are on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, anywhere you can find us, Instagram, Facebook. We just dropped a few singles that are available right now. Our new album will be available on all streaming platforms on March 26th.
Awesome. And Brandon, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to interview with me for Madness to Creation. And I know you got some practicing to do. So again, thank you so much, man. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. And you take care.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.